Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hi. My name is Elise Sanchez. I'm the Executive Director at the Oregon Community Health Workers Association. Before I start, how about a hand for my backup dancers? Woo! Yeah! Woo! Good job, guys. We're not paying them, so if you have tips, they'll appreciate it. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. This is amazing to see so many faces in this room. If you look around the room, you will see a lot of community health workers here tonight. And one of the things that is so exciting about my job is that I get to work with community health workers every day who are such vital, amazing leaders in their community and who are so important in our fight for social justice and health equity. So I want to give a hand to the community health workers in the room tonight for standing up for community every day. The Oregon Community Health Workers Association was founded in 2011 by community health workers, some of whom are in the room today. And we were really founded to provide a unified voice for community health workers and their communities statewide. And one of our commitments, including health equity and social justice, one of our core values is also heart, or corazon. And I think I really feel the heart in this room today. So I want to thank you all for taking time to come see us. ORCHA provides training, technical assistance, and advocacy for CHW programs statewide. And we're committed to developing innovative pathways for systems to reliably contract for community-based CHWs by building a strong, diverse network of community partner agencies in our collaborative programs. And We Are Home is one of those collaborative programs. So tonight you're going to be seeing the work of the We Are Home Collaborative, which is a partnership between ORCHA, the Micronesian Islander community, the Oregon Bhutanese Community Organization, and the African Holistic Family Health Organization, and the Multnomah County Health Department. Through We Are Home, emerging immigrant-led organizations leverage their leadership and assets to strengthen community connection, self-determination, and cultural preservation, assist families navigating complex systems, and identifying opportunities to promote culturally responsive birthing practices, prenatal care, and postpartum services. So we are so happy to have community members from all the communities we've been working with over the past year. They've worked really hard, not just birthing babies and raising families, but also working on systems change. And this is one of our systems change efforts in action here tonight, so you'll be the first to see the culmination of a lot of hard work that went into this tonight. So before I pass the mic over, I would not be fulfilling my role as an executive director if I did not let you know that while tonight is not a fundraiser, if you should feel called to support our work, you can donate online at www.orchwa.org. And we want to thank you once again for coming here, showing up, and being a face for our community. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Eliza Canty-Jones. I work here at the Oregon Historical Society. I have a couple of roles. I'm the editor of our journal, the Oregon Historical Quarterly, and I'm what we call Director of Community Engagement, which means I get to do fun things like this. I'm really so happy to see all of you here tonight. The mission of the Oregon Historical Society is to preserve our state's history and make it accessible to everyone in ways that advance knowledge and inspire curiosity about all of the peoples, places, and events that have shaped Oregon. This is work that is a large charge, and we're happy to do it. We do it in a lot of ways. The museum here in our downtown location, normally we have 3 full floors of museum exhibits. Our 3rd floor is under renovation right now. A new exhibit will open in February of next year. We have public programs like this. We have online resources. We have a research library that's open to the public at no charge and no appointment necessary. So come on in and use us. We really want to be a place that people come and use to find their history and share their history. We're supported in a wide variety of ways. We're a membership organization. There are volunteers who support us. There are corporations and granting agencies. But I do want to note in particular that the residents of Multnomah County have now voted twice to assess a small property tax levy that supports the Oregon Historical Societies and 3 historical societies in East Multnomah County. This is important to us for a lot of reasons, but one of the ways that we say thank you is free admission all the time to the Oregon Historical Society. So please come and visit our exhibits. The History Hub, which some of you saw earlier this evening, which is designed for kids and families, that's always here and available to you 7 days a week. So please come and take advantage of that. And then I just want to say a couple words about why tonight's event is so important for us at the Oregon Historical Society. We really strive to be a community space where everyone is welcomed and where all Oregonians' voices and experiences are valued. And so we want all of you to know about the Oregon Historical Society and to come back here again and again and use what we have available and to help us grow and be a better organization. In the future, when historians look back at Oregon in 2018, if your communities are not part of their story that they tell, then they will not be telling the truth about Oregon as it is today. So we really rely on community members to come and help us document what Oregon is like now so that historians in the future will be able to understand who we were today. So I think that's all I'll say on that, but please feel free to get in touch with us or come visit us or tell us things that we should be doing differently or better or what you would like to see. We want to hear that. And before I pass off the microphone, I want to express gratitude to all of the people who have worked together to organize tonight's event. We've spent several months in meetings together, and they've been doing all of the work, and then we get together and talk about it once a month or so. And the community health workers who have created the program this evening are some of the most amazing professionals I've ever had the opportunity to work with. The meetings that they ran and the work that they did were full of productivity, full of passion and heart and purpose. And they've really been some of the most fun and purposeful times that I've been able to have in my job. And I'm really going to miss all of you. So let's do more things together. So I really appreciate being introduced to the organizations who worked to create this tonight. And I want to say in particular, thank you to Charlene and to Lizzie and to Chi and to Januka and to Heike and Joy and Celia and Lillian and Dahl and Lahaina and anybody who I might have forgotten. You are all absolutely outstanding, and I really can't thank you enough for wanting to do this program here at the Oregon Historical Society. So big respect to all of the community health workers who organized tonight's program. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for coming tonight. Why don't you take a moment and just introduce yourself to the person next to you, because this is a really incredible group of people and you might not know the person next to you. Okay, now that you know each other, you can get each other's numbers and you can continue this conversation, but we do have a show to get on with. It sounds like you guys all made friends. That's great. My name is Lizzie Fussell, and I work with the Multnomah County Health Department, Maternal Child Family Health. You guys are still chatting. You're making some really good friends.
Hi, what's your name?
That was great. Yeah, I just wanted to say a little bit about Multnomah County Health Department. We are so proud of this partnership with ORCHA and with all of the organizations that are involved in the We Are Home project. This has been an amazing project, and this is an amazing event. This project, the We Are Home project, is really closely connected with our community health improvement plan, now called Community Powered Change, that's led by OHE. And so that's
a really important part of the work that we're doing to really deepen our partnerships with community and ensure that community-driven solutions are at the helm of how we address health inequities in Multnomah County. Eliza stole a lot of our thank you thunder, so she covered a lot of the thank yous, and so I really wanted to thank all the community health workers involved, but there's a few other folks to thank. I just want to thank Orchwa in particular for being such a persistent and innovative partner in this new work with us. I want to thank the Multnomah County Health Department's leadership, who have taken some risks and supported Charlene and I as we've been trying to do some different kind of work than sometimes we do in the health department, particularly Larisha Baker, Jessica Guernsey, Tamika Brazil, and my supervisor, Elizabeth Carroll. Thank you so much. And then also thank you to the Early Learning Multnomah Early Learning Hub for partnering with us and helping to fund this really important work. We really appreciate your support. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Charlene. Where did she go? Okay. Thank you so much.
So, good evening, everyone. I just have so amazing standing here and just looking out and seeing this project from the beginning, where we started to explore new and innovative ways for the county to reach out to our refugee and immigrant population. So thank you all for being out. Okay, now you can hear me? Okay. So before we proceed further into our program, I would like us to pause for a second and acknowledge the indigenous people of this land. So oftentimes, when we strive to do something different, you're not quite sure what it's going to look like. And I think tonight is an excellent example of learning by doing. So we thank you for coming with us on this journey. So as stated previously, my name is Charlene McGee, and I identify as a Liberian Oregonian. Liberia is where I was born, and Oregon is where I have lived for the last 20 years. Like many of you, my identity is intersectional. I'm an immigrant, I'm Black, I'm a naturalized US citizen, I'm a mother, I'm a public health professional, and more importantly, my culture, the history and traditions of my people are very important to me. Like Multnomah County, we recognize and understand that culture is a very important part of health. Through this partnership and this effort, we've worked to improve the birth experiences of our communities. This evening, you will have an opportunity to hear the firsthand experiences of families who are both clients and collaborators of this project. Oregonians from the Bhutanese, Micronesian, and African community will introduce their culture and share stories in an evening of fun and learning. Women will tell their birth stories, offering you a glimpse of experiences that carry vital lessons to be learned by health professionals and the broader Portland community. At Multnomah County, we know that culture is a part of your health. Culture preservation is important to the diverse communities we serve. We know that in Multnomah County, that our county is home to 13.7% of foreign-born and 28.5% of people of color, who contribute to the increasing diversity of Oregon, although we consistently hear that Oregon is white. We know that this level of diversity is not always acknowledged in our doctor's office, in our classrooms, and in our neighborhoods. But we know that in Multnomah County, we have varying degrees of health disparities. We know that more Black babies die within their first year of life than any other race. And we know that locally, right here in Multnomah County, during 2012 to 2016, 32% of Black women and 28% of women of color who give birth in Multnomah County had cesarean section deliveries. Women of color were more likely to receive C-section deliveries. Today is an opportunity for you and all of us to sit back, listen actively to the stories that will be shared by members of our community. Immigrant and refugees bring very diverse culture, religion, and phenomenal health promoting practices that we can all benefit from. Immigrant and refugees give us public health and healthcare professionals an opportunity to work intentionally to learn their cultures and provide optimal care that prevents our refugee and immigrant population from becoming part of our health disparities narrative. Tonight, we ask you to be brave. We ask you to listen. We ask you to listen to the We Are Home Collaborative as we share our story, our culture, and our voice. There are challenges that will be presented. We ask you to listen and not to challenge it. We know that there are language barriers, there are culture barriers. We know there are challenges navigating the healthcare and safety net systems, but we know that our community remains resilient. We know that the community has assets and strengths. We ask you to also consider how in your workplace that you can leverage and integrate the strengths along with the traditions and health-promoting cultural practices of our refugee and immigrant population, rather than focusing on what we may be lacking or how we are falling behind. So tonight, please join me in celebrating our performers, the contributors and staff, and all who would bravely share their story. Thank you very much.
Are you ready for the show? So after you hear all the presentations, I just want to quickly introduce to you. My name is Chi. Chi Bui. I used to be a community health worker for 7 years. And then after that, I moved up to Ochoa, where is the hub of the community health worker, and I'm become a project manager. And our project today to present you, we give it a nickname, and it's called We Are Home. So throughout the night, you will visit one organization with their story, with their music, and the dance. But before all that, in any activity, I would like to do one thing with you called Dinamica. So can we do it together? So it's actually just to bring you back to the energy of celebration. So do you want to do it with me? Very quick, it's gonna be only 2 minutes. So, because this project is about the baby, and I know if you have the baby, you all should know the song. If you happy and you know, you clap your hand. If you happy and you know, you clap. Sing with me. And you happy and you know, and you really want to show. If you happy and you know, you clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, you say hooray. Hooray. If you're happy and you know, you say hooray. Hooray. If you're happy and you know, and you really want to show. If you're happy and you know, you say hooray. Beautiful. That's it. With that, I would like you to visit AFO organization. It stands for American Family Holistic Health. And then we have present to you one community health worker supervisor, his name is Joy, and 2 community health worker, Lillian and Haika. May I have you go to the stage and tell your stories. Thank you very much. Let's give a big hand to the beautiful group.
Thank you, Chi. Joe, go first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joy Mulumba. I'm the supervisor for the African Family Holistic Health Organization. And I would like to just present I'll let my coworkers present themselves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Haika. I work with African Family Holistic Health Organization, and I'm a community health worker, certified for a year now. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian Olero. I'm a community health worker with African Holistic Health Organization, and I'm happy to be here and present our story.
All right. Since I know you guys can't wait to see the performance and what we have, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what AFO is about. It's too bad that our board president, Teresa Lugano, couldn't make it, but I would like to acknowledge a few board members. We have in the room Luisa Aduru and I can't remember, Adambo is here as well. But the mission of AFO is to really build on strength of our communities and really improve their life qualities through giving them access to providers and community member education and leadership development. And you can find out more about it if you go to our website, which is www.afhho.org. And I will I'll let Aika present the performance and the ladies, and then we'll be going.
So right now we're going to play a video. We had two beautiful women share their story and the culture, African culture when it comes to childbirth. Thank you, Eliza. Enjoy. Our story, our voice, our culture by We Are Home Project. Welcome, Karibu.
My name is Hawa Mohammed. I'm here to talk about childbirth. In our culture, in our community, when a woman is pregnant, first she has to stop a hard working, like digging, fetching a water for a long distance. Even the woman in our community, many of them, they are not going to the clinic because first there a lack of knowledge in the community, and second there is a lack of the clinic in the community. And then when it reach like 8 to 9 months, the midwife will come home and do some massage for the baby when the baby is not in the right position. She will help the mother to massage until the baby come to the right position and ready for delivery. For those who going to the clinic for the first visit, they have to go with their husband and then to take some tests with the husband. After that, they will tell you about everything regarding your pregnancy, like danger sign in pregnancy, how you can deliver your baby, and so many things. Our expectation is the mother, when she's in labor pain in the room, it is only the midwife and some other grandma, like her grandma or sister. It is the only one who will stay in that room. Others, like mother, father, they will not stay in that room. We are not birthing the baby until reach 7 days or until the cord come off. A lot of support like that. In our culture, the men, they are only going to work and support the family for other things, but not for house chore. The mother is the one who will take care of the baby and everything and other things in the house. The other things, when you are in labor pain in our community, the midwife will help you to do some exercise, to work until the baby is coming, the time of baby coming out reach. After the baby born, we have to breastfeed the baby for 6 months before giving the baby any food or water. After 6 months, it is when we start giving the baby, introducing for the first food like milk. Till that, until 2 years, we have to breastfeed the baby. In my culture, we fear or we don't like, the most of mothers don't like a C-section because they are thinking that if you get a C-section, you will not have a baby again. They like to have more than 3 babies, like 6 to 7 babies. So that's why they don't like a C-section. And I think it is because of lack of knowledge. I wish healthcare provider to understand our view about C-section. In our culture, we don't take a birth control. We like to have many kids. That is what we believe. We don't take a birth control.
Hi, my name is Noella. I'm here to talk about my birth story, which is very different from back home in Africa. So what I see in Africa is not what I was expecting to see here. So it was very, very different from what I saw back home. When I went to my labor, and then it was very hard for me to push the baby. And then the doctor fed up. The doctor was like, okay, now I'm fed up. So you don't want to push the baby, and the baby is running out of the breath. So if you want to lose the baby, it's fine. But if you don't want to lose the baby, we're going to go with you to the C-section room. Then I was like, okay, doctor, wait a minute. I don't want to go anywhere. I'll go nowhere. Yeah, so I really believe on my word. And then what I really said, and it's really what happened. So finally I gave birth to my baby, and then they were all like, oh, we're sorry because we want to save you with a baby, so we didn't want your baby to pass away, or we didn't want to lose your life, so that's why we like helping you. We wanted to help you, so we're sorry about that. Then I was like, no, it's fine. But according to myself, they never do C-section to me with my 4 babies. I never go through those. So that's why I was telling you, just give me a second. I'm gonna give birth on my own. So I'm gonna give birth like vaginal birth. So that's why I did. About C-section, I think here I come to realize that here people, they think is the easiest way to give birth. So they're scared about the pain. But on my own, I really don't believe in C-section because I've seen a lot of people passing away because of C-section, especially back home. Whenever you are going to C-section, pastors, they have to pray for you. People, they have to go in fasting and prayer for you to for you to pass well in C-section, for you to not give birth, for you to not pass away, because it's kind of risk between you and the baby, so you never know. And then if you go through section and both of you are really good, it's like amazing. It's like a miracle to me and to us, like back in Africa. I enjoyed giving birth here because they're really treating me like a queen, because whatever I would ask them, they could give me. So whatever question I asked them, they could answer me in the right way. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate whoever helps me for that.
I hope you enjoyed that story. Next, I'm going to call Lucy and Judith. They're going to give us a live story of their postmortem. Lucy. And Judith.
right, thank you, thank you. Good evening, my name is Lucy Matanda. I'm the coordinator of the African Immigrant Parent Child Development Services at IRCO Africa House. Yeah. All right. Okay, as my sister, we are sharing about the birth, but today I choose to contrast and to compare the postpartum, that means the period that came after delivery, how we deal with in Africa and how we deal it here in America, because myself, I'm a mother of 8 children. I had 5 children in Africa and I got 3 here. I want to compare. In Africa, when I was giving birth to my children, I was like a princess. When I get the baby, everybody's around me, my in-law, my friend, my family members. They carry the baby, they help me. Some they are helping with massage. You know, the purpose was for me to not have a big belly after giving birth, because I have to continue having more children. If I become fat, there is a problem in my family. Now, you can see in-law taking care of you with the warm tea, herb around, good food, healthy food, and I rest, I sleep, and I don't have stress, no depression at all. I have joy. I feel like, yes, it is good to be a mom and to have a child. And next time, I get another one. See? Now, here in America, I got 3 children here. I was alone. After C-section, nobody was there. You know, in the hospital, with my language so limited, and the nurse is there speaking a hard English, and I don't even understand. Sometimes they ask you, when you are in labor, can you do this? You just say, yes, 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 because you want to be done, but you don't know. After we get home, you are alone. Nobody's there. You don't have a friend because we come like immigrants. All of the family are in Congo like me. Now you carry your baby. You don't have anybody to help you, to cook. And you know what? You just order pizza. After pizza is cheeseburger. Junk food and fast food. And tomorrow the belly is big. Nobody help. That means we just really, when I compare this postpartum period is so different. Why we have stress and depression? Because we don't have support. Not enough support for women, especially immigrant women in African as we are, that we wish to be really surrounded with people who can help. That's why we came to support this project. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. And we would like to have more doula. African women who can really follow up, they are the ones who are young, because our generation have to go up. We need more African children in this country. That's why we came here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here and grateful for AICA organization to invite me to be here. My name is Juliet. I'm from Congo Democratic. I live in Goma for the east of Congo. I live in Uganda for 2.5 years as a refugee. And right now, I've been here for 5 years in USA. I am here to talk about my real story about my childbirth story. I am here to talk about my childbirth story. I had the baby, I was so young. With my firstborn, I was in Africa. Started going to the clinic when I was 6 months pregnant. Until the baby was born. After the baby was born, my relatives, they were all there to help taking care of me and the baby for at least 1 year. During the labor pain, I couldn't have the nurse assisting me and encourage me during the real time of delivery. Our bed has a place to hold on to help me to push the baby, and other nurses around to help me. I moved to America as a refugee 5 years ago with my son. I get very, very sick. I went to the clinic and they found out I was pregnant. I started going to the clinic. I started going to my prenatal appointment. When I was 7 months pregnant, I was involved in a car accident. I had to use crutches and Mid-Count Clinic give me a doula to help me to help me to take care of me and take me to the appointment. When I was close to delivery, it became so hard for me to deliver because I had a back pain and my right leg for the injury. And I couldn't push the baby. The delivery bed was out of handles to hold on, and a team of 7 people, doctors and nurses, no one touched me, and they were there just making a verbal oral encouragement. That was difficult for me. That was difficult for me. For me, with physical trauma due to the accident, I get back home after delivery. I had no one to help me. I still had the crutches, and my 6-year-old was the one helping me around the house. Get diapers and for the baby. Life becomes so difficult. I decided to move out of my apartment. I could keep up with paying my rent. I became homeless with my 2 babies. The little one was 3 months old. Luckily, I found a family shelter, stayed there for 6 months until they found a place for me. Living in a shelter with an infant was not easy. I had to be every night to watch over my kid. I had fear that someone will steal my babies. Will I sleep? I had to find a place to take shower and bath my 2 babies. I remember I used to walk around a lot to pass time until shelter opening hours. It was during the winter time, very, very cold. There were no programs like We Are Home to support us. I wish I could have people like Aika who could be there to support me and my kid. For all those 6 months, I didn't remember a day that I had a good sleep, like a normal people. But I could still attend all postpartum appointments. I told the nurses and doctors of what I'm going through in my life. I get a lot of promises with no help. On time, my baby was... One time, my baby was sick. I had to rush him to the emergency room. I got discharged at the emergency room. It was about 4:30, I remember. I refused to leave the hospital. I said, no, I'm not gonna go anywhere. I will be better die over here, please. I'm not gonna back to the shelter with these 2 babies. I was confused and depressed. I told the nurses and doctors to find for me a place to go, please. They got a motel for a week. A week later, the day I was checking out from the hotel, I get a call from the Human Solution Services, and they give me a good news. They had to find an apartment for me and my kid. Honestly, my postpartum was the worst, but I'm thankful for all people who were stood to help me and my babies. Answer again, I thank you. That is all I had to share with you today.
Thank you, Juliet and Lucy, for your stories. I would like to welcome our performer for tonight, Loveness, and your group. Please. Please come on.
Thank you so much for inviting us tonight. We are truly honored to be representing our continent. I'm from Zimbabwe, Southern Africa, but I'm representing Africa as a performer here with Brother Chapter. Unfortunately, my daughter had to leave. Some of you saw her back there. She has a school performance. It's her last day of high school today. And so she's supposed to be back in class. We were hoping to give you the performance earlier, but it wasn't that way. So anyway, we are here now, so I'm going to share with you a few pieces of dance. And I don't know what else, but whatever I feel moved to do, I will do. And Brother Chapter is just going to continue. But before I even go any further, I want to ask here, actually I'm not asking, I'm going to tell you, because this is how I grew up. So we grew up playing games. These games, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have TV. I think I'm loud enough, don't you think? I might be just loud because I'm used to being loud, but anyway, you know, back home we don't know what this is, so we never use this. But anyway, thank you so much actually, because my voice was actually going today in the morning, so this helps a lot. So I just need to adjust to this. I'm just used to, you know, when it's dinner time, we go, hey, it's time for whatever, come over, and they come. We don't use this, but anyway, so growing up. Everybody played, we danced, everybody danced. We laughed, we sang. I mean, if you've been to Africa, you will agree with me that there is less depressed people. Even though we might look like we don't have enough because we don't have cell phones and all these TVs and whatever things, or internet. But we are less depressed. I didn't know what depression was until I moved to America. Seriously, each time I went to the doctor for something, you know, maybe whatever, they asked me, fill these forms. Are you depressed? I'm like, what is that? I used to ask, what is that? I'm serious, I didn't know what it was. But as few years went by, then I knew what it was because I started to get it. Because that's what you get in sometimes some environments where people don't talk to the neighbor for 10 years. I'm like, I don't know you, but I'm your neighbor. I want to know you, you know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm very honored to be able to be a part of this event. I know I've worked with Oregon Historic Society before. You used to have the school programs. I don't know what's going on with those ones. I used to teach for you in Woodburn every week, and I would love to see those programs come back because the kids in schools really loved us, so we would love to share our culture more. And Loveness Westa is back and wants to work with you. Thank you so very much. So now, just know that you will be part of this. It's not Loveness only performing here. In Africa, everybody is part of it. We are part of the party. No one is sitting down. Seriously, that's what it is. So hey, just watch for that. So we're gonna do something. We're gonna help me a lot with of them is on. So here's the funny part. The fun part is that I'm asking for 2 volunteers, a girl and a boy. And this doesn't mean little kids, you know. Even if you are the one going, you're still a girl and a boy, okay? You're still a girl and a boy. So can I have 1 girl, 1 boy? Okay, we got a boy. How about a girl my age or older, please? A girl my age or older. I'm gonna pick. If you don't come, I will just come and pick you. She's coming. She is coming. Okay, perfect. Now, you're gonna hold this. You're coming, you're coming. Yes, you are coming. You don't stand up when I'm asking for a volunteer. Don't stand up if you don't want to come here, so. Okay. So, hey, move this way a little bit. Move that way a little bit. A little more, and back. You come over this side. You come over this side. Right here. Just go under this. Beautiful dress you have. Get under there. Go in. It's clean, it's beautiful. Your dress is nice. Go in. In. Okay. And move back this way. Towards me. Coming. So your feet, I'm going to hold it. Okay. Not too tight. Not too tight. Not too tight. Not too loose. Just right. Let's see. Move it closer a tiny little bit. Somewhere there. Okay, perfect. Now can I have 2 more volunteers? Another boy and a girl. And I'm not talking only the younger ones only. Okay, I'm gonna choose now. How about you? Up somebody really quick, please. Don't stand up if you don't wanna come over here. Okay, how about you? 1. Thank you. Come on. And one more. Girl. Perfect. Okay. Now you guys are going to continue. You're going to start. You're going to give them an opportunity to experience what they will do if they were in Africa with no phones, with no toys. They create their own games. Go for it. Do something. Just do something. This is all you have. You're in Africa and this is all you have. Get closer, please. Not too tight. Okay. Just, this one. Do something with that rope. Do something with it, I don't know. Let's say this is the only toy you have and you're in Africa for a month. And they say, let's go play. And there you go. Do something. Come on.
Mommy.
Can you do something? Okay, don't hold it. Not pulling it at all. Don't touch it, but you're going to do something with it. There you go. Do something. Get creative. No cell phone today. Keep going for 1 hour. That's the game today. Create something. Woohoo! We're gonna fall. That was neat though. Okay, awesome. That was really creative. Thank you so much. You do something. Woo! Do something. Keep doing it. One more time. Hey! You want to do something? Okay, get in here really quick. He wants to do something. You ready to do something? Come on. Woo-hoo! Let's give them another. Keep going. Do it. Okay. Thank you guys so very much. Here is what's going on. You're staying. You take that this time. You are staying. You take that. And we don't have another volunteer, so you hold that. You hold it. The same way they were doing. Do it for me, please. Now do it for me. Just give me some.
before we call and transition to our next group, I just wanted us to take a minute to reflect on what we just saw. So who recall the video? What do you remember from the video? Be brave. Just we're all family. We're home.
Since probably 1970 something, the extended family disappeared in the Caucasian community because so many people moved away, and there were grandparents when I was growing up, but that was about 60 years ago, so it doesn't happen anymore. So the only thing people have when they come here is if they get assembled into a community with a similar structure to what they had back home.
Exactly. So we saw little family, little support.
Despite the fact that these ladies experienced quite a barrier, I also saw strength in these women, that they had to break through the struggles. And for the young lady that shared the fact that she was homeless and with kids, I'm a mom, so that's really hard. I appreciate it that they shared this.
And despite the challenges that our refugee and immigrant families experience, there's also strength and resiliency that they also put out, right? So I think the other thing to also call out, especially for our families who are arriving, who have already had kids prior to arriving to the U.S., right? People arrive with varying degrees of fears, varying degrees of myths. In the midst sometimes when medical decisions are made, right? Making sure that the client fully understands why that decision was made, right? Rather than you walking away feeling like they did what they did because, right, it may have been medically necessary, right? Could be both ways, right? So making sure that clients understand what they're experiencing. So continue to pull out the different message comparison of the stories that you're hearing, because in the end, we're gonna get to a call for action. So take notes, continue to stay with us, and I'm gonna pass it over to Chi.
I have my own microphone. So I'm back here again. Quickly introduce you a new priest. The priests come from the island, and they are Micronesian people. Let them speak about their story, and we will listen some poem and the music. So it's gonna be totally different, and we please welcome the Micronesian organizations.
Tarina, my daughter name is Cecilia. I'm a single mom. This is my birth story. Trustogari I protect personal insurance. Ra sentiri different canary tech. Nge resepar except for repatse insurance. They kiki nye bortalari si benarkorien tek nesor parari si portek par armut repotokorne insurance. Iwa puputatsek usunne se fatubun povitek osugosu porose iwatsek povitek amat fataniko doctor. It takes me like 2 days. I don't know, I'm not a viewing, but I really try hard to I put noodle, but I said what's it I put waiting. We got I go over the Rafa give me like oppos or medicine, but I some mefi. I go over there. I will put it look. wafe me nukarapere wafe me vilai pureruru. Iwe rai toko doctor rai rajuk ri pupuretuk ri right away. Pure re osukera neyer baragasagas fugon me vi par iting. Separe ri before enge mi or sukusuken neyen. Nga mi par kiswewe ti fas Amerika par mi par kis fas Amerika nika or tati akuri e po fata. Akawin se kosiri ren pekin uru pe bakarari we win airuru.
My name is Diedre. I've had 2 kids and this is my birth story. So something that I really struggled with during my prenatal care was the switching of midwives during my appointments. So I would have more than one during multiple appointments. So I wouldn't be seeing the same person every time. So it was very inconsistent for me, as opposed to my first pregnancy with my first child in Washington, where I only had one midwife who focused on me and my birth throughout my whole pregnancy. And I think that's something that I really struggled with the most. So immediately after giving birth, I was switched to a much smaller room, which was something I wasn't aware of. It was really an inconvenience, especially because I come from a big family and a birth of a child is extremely important to us. So having everyone there, I feel like hospitals don't take that into consideration. And when I gave birth to my first child as well, it was just one room where I labored, gave birth, and had aftercare. First of all, I want to highlight that postpartum care is something that is very necessary, especially because postpartum depression is a very real thing. Luckily, I didn't experience postpartum depression, but I did receive the adequate information and resources if I did. However, postpartum care is something that I believe Micronesian women struggle with due to 3 main things, which include lack of resources, language barriers, and more importantly, the OHP disconnection due to immigration status. Micronesian women believe that their care ends right after giving birth. Yes, I have heard of a birth plan. As far as I know, I'm one of the very few Micronesian women who has utilized a birth plan in Oregon so far. Having a birth plan made both of my birthing experiences extremely smooth and easy. So I highly recommend that providers and hospitals disclose information about a birth plan to all their patients.
Yes. So everything you see here from the videos, maybe you see it's not excellent quality, but it made by community health worker. I have one thing that I'm joke about a community health worker. When you become a community health worker, you become an artist. You become a filmmaker. You become now making poem and present it back to the group. Please welcome the group. And this is community health worker from Micronesia.
Nekiriorenim, or good evening. That's the Chuukese word for good evening. My name is Lahaina. I am from a small, tiny island called Wada in the state of Chuuk in the Micronesian Islands. How many of you guys have ever heard of Chuuk or Micronesia, except for all those ladies who are wearing dresses? Awesome. Okay. So first, I want to introduce our organization. The Micronesian Islander community is one of the few organizations that help or provide services for Micronesians in Oregon. We have table over there with our brochures and some kind of background information if you want to check it out. We are part of the We Are Home collaborative. Currently we have maybe 5 community health workers who are Micronesians, and fortunately 2 of those community health workers are staffs of MIC. So I want to shout out the people who trained us and get us here today. There are some people out in the audience who got us here today. I want to introduce a group of women. They are called the Chuukese Women Ambassadors. They're all the ladies who are wearing the same dress that I'm wearing. I mean, not the same dress, but the same type of dress. I would like to call them up to the stage now. We're going to do kind of like a performance. We're going to do a poem and 2 songs that are going to be sung in the Chuukese language. Come on. Okay, guys, don't be shy. Come on. It's your time to shine. Okay. So we're gonna stand here real quick because the photographers are gonna take pictures of us with the organ thing for like 1 minute. 1 minute. Come on, guys. Okay. Whoever's taking the photo, we're ready. Okay. Thank you guys so much. So I want to reintroduce the Chuukese Women Ambassadors group. So the Chuukese Women Ambassadors group was formed out of the We Are Home collaborative. The We Are Home collaborative is focused on maternal growth and the wellness of babies and their moms. So this group was formed last year to support women who are pregnant within the Micronesian community, especially the Chuukese-speaking communities. What we did last year was we would visit women and pay visit and just cheer them up to prevent isolation and postpartum depression. But we have gone far from just visiting. Obviously, we went from 3 people, which was me, my mom, and my sister, to a bigger group now. One of our highlights of the group is the Voter Voice Project. So if you come in the door, you would notice that we have some pictures on the table over there and 2 more on the Orchwa table. So that's the Voter Voice Project that we have been working on over the past couple of months. And our Voter Voice Project was entitled Empowerment via Birth Stories. So it's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to learn more about it, we're only given 15 minutes to talk, so ask us later. We'll tell you about it. Sorry, I just lost. She just asked me a question. But anyway, so check out the Photo Voice Project. One last thing that I want to point out is so some of us took the Max down to here because we couldn't drive down here. It's downtown. And so a lot of people were very confused by the dresses because they weren't on the Max, right? And they were telling me as they were walking from the Max, people were just staring at them. So I just kind of want to point out these are kind of the dresses that we wear for special events. And these are sewn by Chuukese women in Oregon and Washington. So yeah. I'm going to read off a poem that we came up with. The poem was created from the quotes that were collected through the Voter Voice Project. So I'm gonna read that before we do our poem, and then we're just gonna kind of transition into our 2 songs. We are from small island gems in turquoise water. We are from matriarchal societies destroyed by colonialism. We are from forgotten territories. We are from broken treaties that disable us from getting health care. We are also from women of strong and resilient indigenous women. We are from nurturing hands. We are from uncertain maternal celebration instead of baby showers. We are women who play double or triple roles in families, societies, and churches. We are mothers even without having to give birth. We are caretakers of our families and societies. We are providers. In fact, we are caretakers at heart. We are grandmothers, mothers, sisters. We are the Chuukese Women Ambassadors. Okay, so our next song kind of has some movement with it. And it's not hula. Hula is not from the Micronesian island. It's from Polynesia, which in Hawaii. It's from Hawaii, which is in Polynesia. Just want to throw that out there.
We can put our hands together again for the Chuukese Women Ambassadors. So what are some takeaways you'd noticed from their video? I'm like, Beth, I saw you first.
Well, just the difficulty faced by people who are coming from Micronesia because of not being able to access insurance.
So insurance, access to insurance based on status. What else? What are some similarities you saw between the first group and the second group? barriers.
I think some of the commonalities I heard was the desire or attempt to give a natural birth, but somehow ending up in the cesarean section, and oftentimes pressure by the doctor. And I think the medication that kind of like goes into the entire birth experience, whether or not the woman actually wanted it is another issue, because perhaps due to the language barriers, they just say yes, 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 but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another one too, right? And then we also know the data shows that women of color have higher rates of C-section. So what about access to prenatal care? Right? I think a lot of cultures, like I'm from Liberia, our women tend to receive later prenatal care, right? But there are also some cultural practices that we traditionally do. Once you know you're pregnant, but right here in America, if you show up in your doctor's office 3 months pregnant, like, oh my goodness, she's missed that first month of trimester, right? That first trimester of care. So that's one. So the interpretation piece was another one. So language access, right? Although a woman may speak English, but does she fully comprehend what it is that she's consenting to? A lot of our refugee and immigrant have large families, right? I remember when my son was born, guys were so overwhelmed. They're like, all these visitors. I'm like, they're not gonna stop, right? And when you put folks in small rooms and they have large families, that's a problem, right? Or another one that we've also heard, a lot of the hospitals also have very restricted visiting hours, right? And we know we have family members and community members who work 24/7, and that conflicts with the hospital visiting hours as well. So also having someone with you during the birthing process, right? That's something that we also saw that's very important and something that folks are asking for. So I'm gonna transition on to the next group, but I want you again to remember to take notes for what's happening, because we're gonna get to the piece around some call for actions and wanna see what some of your thoughts and ideas around that.
Before I introduce to you the last group of the night, I would like to sincerely thank you for your time and your support. You stay here until now. It's amazing. It's a great support for all of us. We're working together, and we work very hard to put it together. We know that we're not a professional performers and professional filmmaker and poem maker, whatever, but you know, everything you hear here is it from our heart. And all we're doing here is for our community. And I say in the very early morning, this morning at 5 o'clock, I text to the whole group. I say, because of our children, we do it. We make a movement. And with all of your support, we really make it happen today. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have a chance to stand up a little bit, look around, and you will enjoy the colorful. It's so beautiful and it's so colorful in this room. In terms of, you know, like we come from different, we're very diverse. Please take another stand up, look around and say congratulations for our diversity. Please do so. Yay! Right? Is this beautiful? So the last group I want to introduce to you is the Bhutanese community organization. He's gonna be very nervous presenting the story to you. I listened to his story this morning. I cry. Make them cry, dog.
Okay. I myself, Dal Basnet, I was born in...
Hold it very close here and project your voice.
Myself, Dal Basnet, working as a community health worker in Oregon Bhutanese Community Organization. I was born in Bhutan and stayed in a refugee camp in Nepal for 17 years in a dorm life. So on 2007, We started resettling in the United States by the United Nations and UNHCR and IOM. So we are starting the new life. Before that, we don't have any freedom of speech or nothing. So that's why I'm a little bit unconfident. I mean, not confident in speaking in mass. So that's my life story. And I have a story of one of my community member. So I'm gonna play here.
Hi everyone, namaste. My name is Rekha. I am a mother of two beautiful daughters, 2 years old and 5 years old. Today I'm going to express my opinion on preconception care, pregnancy, birthing, and postpartum care. I'm going to express my opinion on my own experience and what I have observed from my community members. So today I will be also touching based on how things are similar and culturally different here in the United States and back home. In my opinion, preconception care is very important because if we are able to plan ahead of time, things go smoother. My community loves gardening. We know that plants quality greatly depends on soil composition. Similarly, woman's body has to be healthy to carry a human being inside it. As soon as we knew that we wanted to have family, me and my husband went to the doctor and was prescribed prenatal vitamin. I'm one of those lucky moms who didn't go through terrible pregnancy syndromes, and I think it has so much to do with my pre-planning. I have talked to many community women, but seemed like they were not aware of it. I wish there is some kind of community-based project that could put together a workshop or training to prepare future mom to have healthy babies and have beautiful pregnancy. Family planning services are very limited in back home and not everyone wants to use them. Our society is male dominated and women tend to listen to their household when making decisions. My parents' generation have average of 4 babies in the house, and now things have changed. Women started getting higher education and started contributing financially in the family, so average children went down to about 2 children per families. I have used family planning here in the United States and I'm satisfied with them despite the fact that they bring hormonal changes and side effects. Now that I have completed my family, I have tied my tube to avoid all those side effects. Most of our women in communities are aware of the birth control and family planning because 2 of our community certified healthcare workers do home visits and make them aware of family plannings and birthing. Pregnancies in our home countries are riskier than here in the United States because of limited healthcare service. Healthcare in the United States is more accessible, even though it's not affordable. In back home, people have to deposit money upfront in order to get access, which brings extra pressure in pregnant women. Since most of the birth happen at home, in back home, women in society stay available to help with birthing. Men are not supposed to be around, but things have changed here. Men seem to be more involved and engaged throughout the process, but there are some men that are still uncomfortable in being in a room where delivery happens. Our community tend to take pregnancy as a natural process. Everyone goes through it, and it's not a big deal. But in my experience, it is beyond that. We women are sacrificing so much to give our men pleasure to be fathers. We are doing so much to bring generations. So it is a big deal. It's actually a huge deal everyone should consider. I wish there were more funds available to provide extra support to the childbearing moms. In my pregnancy, people around me were blissfully supportive. My husband, my parents, siblings, nurse, doctor, community health worker, everyone around me were ready to provide extra support whenever I needed. But not everyone has that pleasure. Transparency lack when you don't have or when you don't speak the language. Some of the women have really bad experience while using interpreter over the phone, while translating paperwork over interpreters in persons, and when they were male interpreter over female interpreters, because male aren't actively involved in whole process and don't know much about things to explain it to the woman. Giving birth is a beautiful process and everyone should enjoy it, including the mom. Everyone should contribute to make it less stressful and smooth. In back home, people don't think that mom need time to recover, long enough so that they can spend time with the newborn as much as they do in developed countries. Even here in the United States, working mom gets 3 months leave, which is not enough. I wish we could consider giving extra time off to the new moms like our neighboring developed country does, knowing that women's body need 2 good years to fully recover and go back to ourselves. To be honest, it takes a whole community to raise children, considering cultural differences. Thank you for considering my opinion. I hope we will get more support from everyone involved. Have a good day. Thank you. Namaste.
So that's the story of a mom from my community. So thank you everyone, whoever helped me to get in here. Actually, our organization is really small. We are only 300 to 500 people. So even then, Orchua and IRCU and other organizations, everybody is helping us. So we got 2 certified community health workers in 2016. So I'm working part-time as a community health worker in my community, and everybody is supporting me. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
So put your hands together for the Oregon Bhutanese Association and yourselves. So again, we're going to do a quick reflection on the video and what we just saw. You know why I'm here. What did we see? You don't know English? It's okay. We're vibing. What did folks notice with that last video? The men weren't involved? Oh, the men involvement looks different, right?
They have to, before they had before.
So prior to being in the U.S., before you give birth, you had to pay money to the doctor, to the hospital, else you don't deliver. So that's some of the difference.
You have lack of care where they come from, but the biggest piece also is the support that you get in spite of that lack of care. A very big support is the language barrier.
Yeah. So that's a great point, right? So because a lot of the countries our refugee and immigrants are coming from, the healthcare systems are not as built up as the U.S., right? So that's that piece. But for what has also been practiced for centuries and centuries within those cultures have been support, right? I don't know if you recall, like from the first video, they shared about how they have midwives, right? And the midwives will observe the mother. And actually I just came back home from Liberia 2 weeks ago and watched we call them trained traditional midwives. So these are midwives who have the traditional practices, but now with the convergence of the West and Liberian and African culture trying to preserve it. Like they can literally look at the positioning of the baby. I mean, I watch these women turn the babies with their elbows, and I'm like, that's amazing, right? Like they can predict or guess as best they can the sex of the baby based on the positioning, right? Like it's cultural practice. I don't quite understand it, but I believe it and I trust it because guess what? My mom and my grandma know what they're talking about, right? I don't question, I trust them before I trust science. So that's another example. So as we get ready to conclude our evening, this is the point where we're calling our call to action, right? Based on what we all observe, I think we can all agree there's some opportunities for some changes to occur in our system, correct? What are some of those possible things you think? What do you see? Let me see if your list match up with our list. What are some possible changes you think we can advocate for? Uche? So using doulas, increasing the doulas and using doulas and midwives and culture ambassadors and brokers. That's one of the things I had on my list.
Having hospitals ask women and people from different cultures what they think their birth experience should be like. How many people can the hospital expect to be in the room? When are they going to expect them to be there? If they can ask people ahead of time what they can expect, then they can be better.
So, right, so hospitals communicating with the families, right? So doing the pre-planning, doing the birth plan, asking folks, what do you want? What do you imagine? Explaining what the options are, right? You imagine having the vaginal delivery. However, these are the options that could happen, right? So that if you have to make those choices the first time you're hearing about C-section is not in that moment, right? Because there's so many other things going on and it's just so traumatic that even grasps it.
Access to more language.
Exactly, right? So I'm like, language access is a huge one, right? And then there's difference between interpretation versus translation. There's a difference in having a certified interpreter versus a medically certified interpreter, right? Because, as we all know, when you're in a hospital setting, there are a lot of different terminologies that are used. And if you haven't been properly trained on what those terminologies are, but yet you're expected to communicate and convey it, and oftentimes we also see that within our different, as diverse as our populations are, some of the words from English don't easily translate in other languages, right? So there's even that piece, and I think that's one of the things also where, I think it's important to note the importance of trying to pull out culture, right? That providers should take that extra time to build the relationship, to understand people's culture, right? So with that, and in addition to what you said, we're asking you if you're healthcare providers or you have connections to providers, we would love to have conversations with them. We have a couple of healthcare systems that we are going to be reaching out to. So that's one thing we're going to be doing. In addition, we're also asking you to be our ambassadors, right? Share and communicate what you heard here today. We are on the mission to get refugee and immigrant care to be recognized as specialty care, right? As different as you saw our three groups are, there's also some commonality in terms of what could best serve those populations and folks who aren't from predominant culture. I hate saying predominant culture is like less than, but folks who aren't foreign born or who aren't from the U.S. So thank you again for engaging with us. We hope you filled out your name on the sign-up sheet. As I said, there's going to be ongoing opportunities to engage. And I'm going to transition it over to, the lights are shining.
One very last activity. May I invite all three organizations come back to stage? So the first one, the Apple Africa Family Holistic Health Organization. Please shout out for joy. And then Micronesian Community Organization. And Bhutanese Bhutanese organizations. Audra, please come back. Multnomah County, please come back. Oregon Historical Society. All right, so let us all say thank you for your time, and here is the flower. Please, community health worker, take the flower and offer it to your special supporters, and thank you so much for the night. Without you, we cannot make it happen. Have a good night, everybody.